I'm gonna go
Let's
with.
just go with the first instrument that you owned.
All right, the first instrument I own. I'm gonna go through my list of guitars that I've had
Mm-hmm.
since I started, and it starts with a Squire Stratocaster.
Classic.
Classic.
Nice.
But that Squire Strat lived a very full life where it got changed. Like I changed to a humbucker at one point, replaced the pickups a couple of times, redid the paint job 3 times on it. I pretty much treated it as a like whatever I wanted to do to it because it was a pretty cheap guitar. It was like a $350 guitar or whatever, and I just messed with it until it was unusable. And the final straw with it was when I was really into Yngwie Malmsteen, and he had scalloped frets. I don't know if you know what scalloped frets are, but they like cut away the wood under the frets so that it's really light and you can kind of do vibrato by pushing down. I tried to scallop the frets with a Dremel drill, like with a sander thing on, and just absolutely destroyed the fretboard. And that was it. Yes, I did smash it. Burke Sound and Media. It ended up smashed. So yeah, but it was fun. Like it was worth doing.
Yeah.
That was the first guitar. The first real guitar I had was I would have been like 15, and my parents got me a Godin LG HMB, which is like their kind of middle range, actually probably low to middle range guitars, and it had humbuckers, and that was a pretty good guitar. And I had that up until recently, or I sold that to a friend. Since then, I've had an SX acoustic, which was a piece of shit. Also got smashed at my schoolies weekend, as you do.
Classic. Schoolies.
Oh
man, that was a while ago.
yeah. I got a real Fender Strat, an American one, which had a humbucker in it, which had a humbucker and 2 singles. I then replaced it with like the top of the line full single coil set at one point, and had that for a while. Scalp Fred Eagle, Big Dick Energy, is not Daniel. And I had a Les Paul, what would they call it? The BFG, a Les Paul BFG, which is like a kind of road worn, had a P90 in it and a humbucker, and it was like a bit janky, but that was a really cool guitar. Had a what was it called? I had this one that was a Greco, which is a Japanese brand, and this thing was from the 80s, and it was a replica of like really expensive guitar, and it was built amazingly well. I love that guitar. The only thing I didn't like is it had a floating bridge on it. I can't stand floating bridges, so I ended up getting rid of that one. And a PRS single coil 245. Really liked that guitar as well. I had a Maton. I can't remember. I think it was like an EM 80. I can't remember what type it was. It was a Dreadnought Maton guitar, pretty good one. A Ormsby.
How many, dude? This is crazy.
An Ormsby multi-scale guitar, which was like metal AF. It was probably one of my favorite guitars I've ever owned. That was really cool. Like back when I was a kid, I bought this shitty 7-string that was an absolute piece of crap. Got rid of that at some point. 7 strings not for me. I think that's about it up until I sold I got rid of all of them eventually, and now I have a PRS SE soap bar, which is 2 P90s, and it's a pretty cheap guitar, but I really like it, and a Taylor, I can't remember what it is, a 412 I think it is, Really, really nice acoustic.
Yeah, that's your acoustic's incredibly good.
Love it. So those are the two I have now, as well as a bass that I'm borrowing off a friend of mine. So I think that about sums up my guitar collection over the years.
What was that? Like 9 or 10 guitars?
At least, yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, but that's over 15 years, bro. And
that's true.
And I used to play guitar a lot. I used to play in bands quite a lot. So I was always into guitars and like buying new ones and trading them and all that kind of stuff.
Do you know something crazy? Is I still own all the guitars I've ever owned.
You own? You've never
sold
one?
Sold a guitar.
Never broke one and thrown it out?
No.
Damn.
I don't have many, but I've only got a couple.
Well, what are your guitars?
First guitar I had was a Yamaha acoustic, which is actually the one I played on Friday night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the first guitar I ever owned.
That one you've got
sick.
The pickup. What's the pickup you got in that?
So I ended up. So the pickup in that was rubbish.
Yeah.
So it was like a $750 guitar.
Okay.
But the pickup just sounded trash.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting a Seymour Duncan acoustic pickup that like fits inside of the acoustic, like the hole there. And it has like a blend between a traditional pickup, like a magnet pickup, and a condenser mic, and you can blend that.
Yeah, okay. And so the condenser mic faces inside the guitar.
Yeah, it's like you can actually see it like in the it's like right next to the pickup. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It sounds so sick. It's pretty bright, but like I find that like when you start giving it a slight blend, it sounds perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's pretty much how we ended up. What we went with on Friday as well. I think it was like, actually think it was about 70% condenser, 30%.
Oh yeah.
Pickup. Yeah.
You know, a funny thing about that pickup, because I know the one you're talking about, is I saw Kate Miller Heidke, I think it was Kate Miller Heidke, performing at the convention center when I was working there. And I remember the guitarist had just this phenomenal guitar tone. And I was absolutely blown away by it. So I messaged him on, I can't remember, I think I messaged him on Facebook. I found out who the guitarist was and I was like, yo, how did you get that guitar tone? Like, what is it? And he was like, honestly, it's that pickup that you've got on a good guitar. Like, it was a pretty good Gibson acoustic guitar. And the sound engineer just like doing a good job. He's like, he had no tricks.
It's so clean.
It was just amazing. Like, I couldn't believe how good that pickup sounded, or that guitar sounded.
I remember it being pretty expensive, but it was worth the money. It was between, I think, $200 and $300. But I'm just like, it was worth every penny. And every single recording I do with acoustic on it is with that. I don't have to mic it up or anything. I just play it straight in.
Yeah, that's so
plug
good.
It straight into my interface, and it sounds amazing. I'm just like, yep, done. Like, that to me is worth more than anything, you know. So
hell yeah,
that's my acoustic guitar.
All right.
I have Epiphone Les Paul, which I pretty much exclusively used in the spin set, one of my old bands. And then since then, I have now got a Fender Strat, which I pretty much use for everything. I've used it for everything Tiny Vessels so far. I haven't pulled out the Epi in a while. That's pretty much it, other than my bass guitar. I'm pretty simple.
Yeah, what's your bass guitar?
I've got a P bass, precision bass by Fender.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good.
So you got pretty good gear then. You've got like a Fender.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I've got.
Fender Strat P bass.
A couple more guitars eventually, but there's things I want, but I don't need.
Okay.
I kind of want them.
Berkey's asking what the pickup is that we're talking about. It's the Seymour Duncan. Oh my god, what's it called?
Let me just. I don't know if it's written on the actual pickup.
I don't think it.
I can check.
Wait, I think I'll find it real quick. I'm just looking it up. Lickety split. It's not the Woody.
Doesn't actually say it on it.
Here it is. It's the I'm opening up YouTube. Ah, god damn it! It's the Mag mic.
That's it, Mag mic. That's definitely
Mag mic. Yeah.
That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, it's the Seymour Duncan Mag mic. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Amazing.
Amazing.
I ended up just rewiring it, so I bypassed all the stuff on the top.
Oh yeah.
And I rewiring it back to the traditional.
Back to the traditional. Is that a massive crack in there?
Oh, that?
Yeah.
No, it's just a scratch.
Ah, that's alright.
A crack in the actual wood here. There you go. That's a crack. I had my guitar over at a friend's house, and fell off the couch and headbutted my acoustic and cracked it. And I was like, oof.
That's
oof.
Man, I
wasn't happy that day.
I will never buy. Here's a gear thing. I will never buy a guitar that I'm not willing to like get beaten up, like to put dents in. I'll never have an instrument that I would be sad if it got a dent, because
yeah, I just embrace it now. But it was only a couple of years old when it happened, and I'm like, bro.
Yeah, not good.
You
Cool.
have a bass guitar, don't you?
I do. My bass is the bass I've got is it's my friend's Ibanez sound gear. It is cheap as fuck. It's a 5-string, and it was his first bass when I was in a band with him back in when we were like kids. And he's got a sick Rickenbacker now, and he just lent me this. I can't really play bass that well, but I just use it for recording. And yeah, just doing whatever I got to do with bass. But I would like to get a better one. This thing is like not only pretty average but pretty old. But I appreciate having a free bass. Like my friend's a sick cunt for letting me use that. Wait, can we swear on this?
Apparently.
Does that have a?
I think we can do whatever we want.
Does that have a pre-module / cutout? The preamp is inside the pickup itself. I'm pretty sure. Is that right? Your one?
So there's actually a bit of a trick to that, because I think it's inside. Because the actual
it's got like
battery
controls on it.
Actually inside. You can't really see, but the battery's actually hidden just up here above the hole.
Oh yeah.
I don't really want to pull it out. I mean, I could have rewired it in here, where the old battery used to sit in the old style pickup place, but it buzzed. So I just took it out and never put it back in, and just kind of put the battery inside the hole instead.
Yeah. Well, fucking hell.
It was super easy to install.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not playing bass for you, Brad. It won't happen. Cool. So that's guitars covered.
Yeah.
And anything like fancy about your guitars that you've done apart from that pickup, like on your electrics or anything like that? They're all stock.
Yeah, they're all stock.
Hell yeah.
All my focus was in pedals. Which is a ball game.
Yeah, let's talk about.
I actually have
amps and
some in front of me, coincidentally.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
So what's your amp pedal setup?
So I have an orange combo cab.
What is it?
It is, off the top of my head. Oh God, it's been a while since I've seen it. It's currently in Ed's garage.
Isn't it? It's an AC30, isn't it? Oh no, it's a Rocker Verb 50.
Yes. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
Not AC30. AC30 is a.
No, that's Vox.
Vox. Yeah, I think it's a Rocker Verb 50.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds great. So I usually use the distortion in that because I just love that orange crunch.
Mm.
It's got that very British, crunchy overdrive that I really love.
Yeah.
But other than that, I always had this guy, which is actually a custom-made pedal. Terrence is the one who made this for me. It's just a blues overdrive.
Oh yeah.
And it's really, really subtle. but it just like gives it a little bit more body. So I kind of always just had this on, always, no matter if it was a clean channel or whatever channel. Yeah,
Just gave
really
some
cool.
drive.
It kind of has a like a bright and not so bright setting on it. But like, I pretty much just had those and my tuner. But then I had this, which is my favorite pedal of all time. And Tiny Mountain uses this a lot as well on all of our recordings. But this is the Blue Sky, Strymon Blue Sky reverb,
yes. That
which
thing.
I was super lucky. I was in the right place at the right time and got this pretty cheap. Yeah, and it's the best. That's the best thing I've ever bought. I've ran because it's a stereo pedal. It actually has you can run anything through it.
Yeah.
Like I run drums through it. I run vocals through it. And it's just got this shimmer effect, which is actually, if you like the song "Headlights" by Tiny Mountain, we played it on Friday. All of the shimmery effects were all done with that.
Do you know what it's actually doing? You know, because like I know that it's a studio staple for a lot of people is that that pedal is like the sound of so many great songs and awesome tones. Like it's like an octaving delay, isn't it? Or yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
like
it's almost like a dude. I don't even know what's going on. It's kind of like it's like a harmonizer, but like it's got an octave thing going on.
yeah. I have a feeling that
It makes your guitar sound like a synthesizer.
yeah.
Like
I'm pretty sure
an ambient pad. Yeah.
what it's doing is it's a sample delay, and it's pitching that up an octave or like however much, and then like kind of throwing it around a bit. And I think that's like what its purpose is. It kind of like, yeah, it sounds awesome. Like sweet harmonics.
Unbelievably cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
And so those are your pedals. So you got the blues one.
That's what yeah.
Yeah.
I think like sometimes I use this, but not always. It has its time and place. There's definitely a track that we haven't recorded yet that it will go on. But the Small and Pickle by Way Huge.
Oh yeah, those cool.
Like, huge kind of Jimi Hendrix style fuzz. It's just like it's so versatile too. Like you can do anything with that fuzz related.
Yeah.
And I also because I'm obsessed with fuzz. I've got a Green Russian Big Muff as well.
Oh, those are cool.
Which is like the signature tone to like the Black Keys.
Yeah.
They exclusively use this pretty much, but he's got an original one, which is pretty hard to get these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of like that smooth. It's like very distorted but very smooth. It's kind of it's a bit of a weird one, but I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. I used to have a
What about you?
I was going to say I used to have a like one of the big muffs, like the standard ones. They don't quite have the tone of those green ones. Like those green ones have a bit of, I know, something extra going on. But I used to love that pedal, just like fuzz central up in there. So good. Amp wise, oh my god! All right, so you've had one. You've only had one amp.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still got it.
I had one. So I feel like I started off when I was really poor, and then I had to move my way into getting decent stuff. And now I'm back to kind of being poor again, or just not caring enough to have good stuff. Daniel says, "Try my op amp Big Muff. That is literally everything I want in fuzz pedals." Oh, there you go.
I haven't even been looking at the comments.
Oh,
there was one that made me laugh.
I was checking them.
Which was Berkey. Technical term, not so right. I did notice that I said that. I pointed that out.
So amp-wise, my first amp I ever had was a Marshall half stack. So I had like the quad box in the head, but it was a cheap, shitty solid state that I paid way too much for because I bought it brand new, like an idiot. And it was like an MG, I think it was. Just like, I mean, it's not the worst sounding head. Like, they're actually pretty decent, but like it just didn't really cut it for a lot of stuff. But that was my main amp for quite a while. I'm trying to remember where I went from that one. I think I actually I remember I sold that and got a this Vox AVT or AD something digital amp, which was really cool, and that's where I kind of fell in love with digital stuff. And that had like a full pedal board with a wah and a volume knob, and you could turn on and off effects and switch between settings and all that kind of stuff. It was really versatile, and that was a really cool amp. I dug that one. Had that for a few years. Also had a Marshall DSL 100 stack, classic one. That was owned by some like big 90s metal band in Melbourne. The Berserker. I don't know if you've ever heard of those, but they were like this like mad old school grind band. But it was owned by those dudes, so it had some soul to it. And after that, I had a little PV 15 watt, the classic 20, little PV tube amp, which I modded up and stuff. I had that for a little bit. But I just remembered I also forgot one of the acoustics I had. I had a Tanglewood for a while as well. Before I got them. Before I got the Maton. But after that, I went to digital, all digital, and got a Axe 2. And that was my rig for quite a while. I loved Axe stuff. I used to rock up to a gig, and my singer / the other guitarist was a full-on gearhead. So he would like he'd have a Messer head, he'd have a rack, like a full-on 10 unit rack with full of gear that he'd drag to every gig. He'd have a quad box, he'd have like all his pedals like all stacked out and stuff. It would be like 3 or 4 loads for him, and I would rock up with a guitar in one hand, pedal board under my arm, and my Axe like in my other hand, and that would be it. I'd walk into a gig and be able to play just with that. And I think that kind of setup is so it's really like it kind of the future. I mean, it's the now. Like a lot of people are doing it, but a lot of people don't like not having an amp behind them, which is fair. But I just found the convenience was so good, and the sounds on that thing were amazing. Doubled as a recording rig because it was also an interface, which is really cool. Yeah, which worked seamlessly with the computer. I like big advocate for the Axe FX, but I sold that when I went overseas, and now, well, actually, when I came back, I managed to swap one of my guitars that I hadn't sold before I left. I swapped that for a Fender Twin, 100-watt Fender Twin, which was cool, really cool, but I so did not need it. So I sold that as well, and now I have no amps. I just record into software.
All in the box, yeah.
All in the box.
Man, I haven't had my amp here in ages. I'm all in the box as well. Pretty much just use Guitar Rig. I got Guitar Rig 5. That's all I use now.
Guitar Rig is awesome. I got a few...
How about you answer some of the comments? I need a pee. So
yeah. All right, so you do that.
If you could answer a couple of questions in that chat there. You guys talk to Lockie first. I'll be back in like 30 seconds.
All right, so we're talking... All right, so in the discussion, is it a reverb with some... We're talking about the Blue Sky here. Is it a reverb with some octaves on the octave shit on the tails? It could be. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it is a harmonic exciter of some type. Yeah, I mean, gear is sick. I would love to have all the gear in the world. But I mean, who's got the money? Like, I'm all in the box these days because, I mean, we'll talk about that more later. But that seems to be the way of things. I remember watching the dude from
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
was they're talking about the like the people who have really epic rigs, and I remember watching the guy from, it was the second guitarist from Opeth, not the main dude, and he had like this massive rack with all this cool shit in it, and he had a an Axe Effects in there, like an Axe Effects 3, which is about a $3,800 unit, and all it did was have one reverb that he liked from it. And he used that every so often. Like, wasn't using it for anything else. It had the power to do everything that his whole rig was doing. He was just using it for this one reverb. And I was like, dude, this guy's either got too much money or too much passion.